Hello everyone, it is time for another look at a game running on Linux. This time it's Expedition 33. Like I did the last time, here's the look at my system. Don't be confused about the centered icons. I just like them there. This is not Windows 11, it is Linux running on KDE Plasma. I have just installed this game. The only thing I have done is add this command line, like I did with Oblivion. However, I already played some. I played it on Windows, so I have a rough idea how it should run, and that would give me a pretty good comparison point for the Linux performance. And here we are. So the game says or claims it's best enjoyed with a controller, which might be right, but man, that's loud. But because of RSI issues, I prefer a keyboard and mouse, so that's what I will use, and it works. All right. The very curious thing I noticed is this game only supports XeSS or Unreal Engine 5's TSR. There's no FSR from AMD. And although there is something that looks like a slider, you have to use those presets. But at least it tells you the scaling factor. We'll start on Epic and native and everything. Crack unlimited, no, we don't need that. Oh, that's FPS cap, that's it. VSync, yes. Motion blur, no. Motion blur in this game, oh, horrible. That really makes me sick. Yeah, and other than that, everything is Epic. So I know that I will drop a few settings like shadows, anti-aliasing, I think post-processing, some of the few changes I will make to run it, to really run it. I will start a new game but run through the tutorial area pretty quickly without talking to NPCs or anything. You don't get achievements anyway, and I've already done it, I know how the game plays. And once we've done that, because it's a bigger city and it's really heavy on the system, once we finish that, I think I will just load my save game and continue from there. So, Expeditioner, yes. Doesn't look like you can skip the cutscenes.
Clair Obscur, troupe de rature, troupe de roc et fait. give someone flowers, you should probably do it before they wither and die.
What, the flower? Or Sophie?
Ooh, dark. Sophie would approve. Hey, you said it, not me. The others are waiting for you. You're supposed to be helping with the festival.
With what? Putting up 3 tables? They'll manage.
You underestimate Lumiere's enthusiasm for the expedition. There's at least 5 tables.
Marvelous.
Have you tried throwing with your other arm instead? If you could hit the paintress directly, that would actually be useful.
You know, hobbies don't always have to be useful. I'm enjoying the uselessness of today and readying my usefulness for tomorrow. And soon, I'll get to do a lot more than throw rocks.
That's what all the other expeditions said.
Hey, you know they gave their lives to lay the trail for us, right?
Yeah, I know. Sorry.
Yeah.
You still got a flower to give, no?
Yes. Just... I'm not sure how to start. After 4 years apart, what do I say to her on the day of her gamage?
You're asking me? I don't know. Sun's about to set, so be direct. Hey, Soph, been a while. Could we...
Yeah, as you can see, with everything cranked and no upscaling, we're about 50 FPS. And that's something that would actually feel fine with a gamepad. I think 50 is okay. Enough.
Come on. You're not going to forget your flower here, are you?
Oop. Now the nice thing about the level design, we are starting a walk on the rooftops, and every time you look down to the left you can see the path you will take later. That's pretty cool. So it's all a coherent whole. I like that.
Alright, let's go. I'll accompany you there. Are you ready to see her?
And she races away.
Yeah. Been ready.
I set up these grapple shortcuts. Nice, huh? Don't tell your sister, though. I sort of borrowed the hooks from the Expedition Academy. Wish I had them when I was working as a courier.
Yeah, the sense of scale, the art design, that's just... it's incredible. Really looks crazy.
Come on, Gustav, speed up a bit. Sophie will have already gamaged by the time you've arrived.
My head.
That's rude.
Can't believe Sophie already turned 33. She looks so much younger than you.
Thanks.
She's popular. I'm sure she already has a necklace full of flowers.
I can imagine.
So let's do our first change. Let's drop down to... where is it? Hi. Didn't I use TSR? Oh, There is a custom. Ah, oh, that's nice. I haven't noticed that on Windows. Maybe I was just blind. Anyway, let's go. Well, since XeSS was active instead of TSR. But I don't think that does anything for performance. It's probably just a difference in image quality. Filtering. Yeah, this is definitely too heavy. Okay, let's have a little practice fight.
What?
You look
Yeah,
I know what you need.
No.
Come on. And if...
All right.
Yes!
For those who come after.
You won. Now, don't you feel better? I see your smile. All right. Now, I saw her near the red and white.
Yeah.
Now I think we have an understanding how it runs and looks. Let's drop it down now. And luckily, unlike Oblivion Remastered, changing the quality preset doesn't change the resolution scaling. So the only thing that was adapted is the rendering settings. So and that gives us about, well, I'd say 20 FPS, 15 to 20 FPS. And that is a smooth experience now. And I think this city part, from what I've seen so far, is one of the heavier
The
scenes.
plaza is lively. Why people like to celebrate the gommage is still a mystery to me, but oh well. The red and white tree. I've always found it beautiful. I don't really understand. You and Sophie broke up so long ago. But clearly you never got over her. Why'd you wait until today to say something? It's a bit late, isn't it?
She's a ventriloquist.
Sophie's down there.
Yeah, I know.
Good.
Thanks.
I hope you don't mind me just skipping all the dialogue sequences. I found that the other games I've tested from the start, it just took so much time to get through the initial areas, and I want to avoid that. And since I've already played the first part, and it's not about the game itself, it's about the performance, how it runs. And as you can see, it's just start the game on Steam, and it's like as if it were on Windows.
The last few days meant everything.
Oh, I can't skip. Okay, maybe you notice from some of the, not foliage, the particles that are flying around, especially on the ground. There are trails, ghosting. There's a lot of ghosting, so even the TAA that is used, the anti-aliasing, it's creating some ghosting artifacts. And we're not upscaling yet. So for some reason, I don't know when to jinx it, but it feels a little bit better than on Windows. But that just, I don't know. Why am I? Yeah, let's just go.
I can't imagine what you're going through.
I'm fine. I'm fine. I've lived 33 good years. Look around. We've had our whole lives to prepare. We're all fine. Mostly.
I'm not fine.
You will be.
If you look at the CPU usage, it's not that high. It's somewhere in the 30s to 40s. One thread is in the 50s, but that's not a lot. Usually NPC-dense areas are heavy on CPUs in other games. Not so here, maybe they're just too static, they're not doing anything. There's no AI, no world simulation.
Luna's playing. You two would make a cute couple.
If you say so.
Or maybe something already happened, huh?
Alright, let's go back to Epic and use XeSS at ultra quality. Let's use ultra quality. Plus. Yeah, let's see what the highest quality settings that we can get away with. Yeah, it's lower performance than just using high at native. But it's holding above 60 FPS for now.
Sometimes I feel sorry for her.
Who? The paintress?
Look at her. She looks sad. Maybe she's a prisoner too. Stuck in the same cycle with us. Silly, huh?
Only you could choose empathy at a moment like this.
It's one of the few choices I can make.
I couldn't do it.
It's okay. You don't have to.
From an image quality perspective, I think that XeSS at ultra quality looks pretty good. Looking at the foliage, the fine lines of the decals, that's a pretty good image quality, and the performance is nice as well. So, but I think let's start messing around with the settings. First of all, let's go back to Epic. Get a baseline for the current performance, so we're at 50, 51. And now let's drop settings. Unfortunately, like I complained in Oblivion, you don't see the change live in the background, so I have to go back into the game, take a look. Now, if the settings were just overlaid on top of this, what we're seeing right now, that would be ideal. But it's really covering the whole screen. It's not ideal for testing. So, but the FPS counter already rose. So, interesting. So it does some rendering in the background. Yeah, so shadows did a little bit. Not as much as I expected. Yeah, global illumination gave us another 3 to 4 FPS. Let's see, I don't think we have many reflections in the picture right now. Yeah, didn't do anything here. Post-processing. Yeah, it's riveting content, I know. But if you're technically minded like I am, this is actually quite interesting how it behaves. So, texture, no, I'm not touching textures. I have 20 gigabytes of VRAM. I want all the textures I can get. Okay, so that was a few more FPS. Foliage, well, there isn't much foliage here. Yep. So now we're back at high. That did something. So it was a little bit of shadow, a little bit of global illumination, and then shading. I think those are the heavy hitters. Let's cross-check. The chevron moves when you hover over a thing. That's... You always have to readjust the mouse. Annoying. But you're also supposed to use a gamepad. So it's my own fault. Okay, so we're 60s. Did I mess something up? Looks like it. I totally missed something. Or the game's just playing tricks on me right now. Too many ins and outs of the menu. It's like, decide, moron. Yeah, it's in total, there, at least in this scene, there's not one real big hitter, one easy option, but it's the combination of many of them. Well, but it still looks great. I mean, I haven't really tried to do any comparisons while changing the settings. It would be easier if it were a live preview, but alas, here we are. Okay.
Oh, I think I'm gonna vomit. I've always loved the harbor.
And I think this is where I'll skip. So if you haven't played it yet and are interested in playing it, maybe I'm not gonna spoil this one. So let's take another save. So that's just now. I hope I didn't mess anything. Oh no! Oh no! That's disappointing. I thought because the game has... Yeah, there are saves. Didn't it sync my Windows save game? Okay, I'll be back. I will have to check. I don't want to lose my progress. Alright, I'm back. I've figured it out. So, I thought, because I've seen it in the Windows version when I was playing on Windows, that you can load previous saves. So I thought, okay, there are multiple save slots. And as we just saw, there are multiple save slots. But maybe for some reason, my Windows save hasn't made its way to the Linux installation yet via the Steam Cloud. So anyway, I just copied the Windows version from my Windows hard drive or SSD. So let's see, this is the Windows one. You go to users, your username, app data, local, and then there's sendfile. And in Steam, it's under the place where your Steam library is. For me, it's interactive entertainment because it's entertainment that is interactive. Then I have Steam, Steam apps, compat data, this funny number here, PFX, drive, and then it's essentially the same path as on Windows, just emulated in the Steam Proton environment. And there you go. Oh, and before the game or Steam had any chance to override what I already played on Windows, I disabled Cloud Game Sync in Steam before I quit the game, and then I quit the game, copied over my save game, and so on. So anyway, yes, long story, and probably not very interesting. So what are the settings? It's the custom settings, which is almost high. All right. Let's go back to Epic, TSR, Epic. Yes. Let's use the highest quality setting. Oh, and yeah, it's about 10 FPS more than in the city. Play around a little bit, then I don't know, I'll have to see if we enable upscaling first or lower the setting, the quality preset. First strike. Okay, I haven't done that yet. I'm gonna punch you in the butt, or rather in the midsection. Aha! Jerk. Oh, well. I still have to learn the moves. Okay, maybe we can finish him off. Ha! I did the button push. Maybe you heard it. Okay. Well, let's heal. Yeah, we can only attack. That camera angle was very unfortunate. Gustav almost blocked the enemy, so I couldn't really see what he was doing. Can I do any skills? I can do immolation again. Sure. Bam. Okay, but that was already a pretty good test for the frame rate. So in combat it works okay, but you know what? I'm gonna say, and I'm using it as an excuse, the low frame rate and the input lag that comes from it were the reason why Lyle was almost killed. Just gonna say it. That's my excuse.
Well, that will help.
Yes, it will. All right, in that case, let's try. Why not try TSR medium? Hi, yeah, sure. Unreal's upscaler is actually pretty good and in many cases better than FSR. It depends on the game, of course. Look, just dropping that down to high. Now we're in the 70s at max quality settings. And it looks gorgeous. The art design in this game, incredible. But one thing that's missing, but maybe that is something you can do with hardware ray tracing. I'm not sure if there's an option for that. The leaves and the grass, there's not much shadowing. And there's a little bit on the ground, that's okay. Not a lot. This looks a little bit flat. Just like in Oblivion, the trees that I noticed. Oh, and I found out through Digital Foundry, when you enable hardware lumen and even on the lowest setting, then even trees, oh hello, get some shadows. And the dingus! Ah. Okay, it's 2 again. Ah!
I'm ready.
Pretty short dodge would have worked. Yes! Woo! The timing window is toyed. Really toyed. Still, let's burn you. Let's shoot you. How much does that do? To 3? Okay. Well. And there we are. Okay, right now we have about 65 FPS. Okay.
An advantage.
An advantage. It's almost enchantment. Well, not really. Okay, this feels nice. But could be a little bit better. So, okay. Before I do that, no. Let's take this. So we have epic quality with TSR at high. Now we're at 66 FPS. Drop it to high. Drop that to epic. No, raise it, I mean. Yes. And now we almost have 80. And well, that is of course a much nicer experience. So
is that a house?
Looks abandoned. The indigo tree is not too far from here. If anyone else made it, they'll regroup there.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe you have noticed I'm not rushing through the game anymore. I have not played this part yet. Although I have seen YouTube videos, so I watched the first couple of hours just to see if that game would be my jam. But now that I'm playing it myself, I will take my time.
Here we are, huh?
Yeah. The continent. The indigo tree's over there.
That is a weird looking tree. Right, where does this go? Does this go? Oh yes. I'll take that. Thank you very much.
An advantage.
We can use that.
Oh, break stuff. Look at this view. This is amazing. Let's see if through some editing magic, and if I don't forget, I can do a nice before and after. Because right now I don't see much. Which is a good thing. I mean, it's not obvious enough from changing the settings and going through the menus to make me want to keep playing at epic quality. So, with a little bit of fine-tuning, let's see, that. I don't like to drop global illumination. Processing, those did something. I'd like to keep the foliage high. The density, yes, that's why I'll keep that on epic. And also do this, yes. Now we're above 80, and I think it was more like 75 with high. Yeah, that was great. But again, I really don't know if there's any difference. But I would probably play with a little bit of tweaking, keep the foliage density high. Maybe the global illumination. If it even makes a difference. I don't know. Hopefully some outlets like Digital Foundry will do a comparison, an optimization guide where they compare the settings on the PC to how it looks on a PlayStation, for example, and try to derive the optimized settings, which are the settings that the PlayStation uses. And then we'll see what the performance is like and what the visual differences are like. I'm not making that content. Future me here. Just as I finished recording the gameplay, I noticed that Digital Foundry had dropped their video on the PC version of the game and, as suspected, it contains optimized settings based on the PlayStation performance. I'll leave a link in the video description. Others have way more time than I do. I'm just more interested in, can I replace Windows as a gaming system? And nice. For everything I've tried so far, yeah, I can. Hey, big guy, can I punch you in the dingus? Ah! The BAM was missing.
Take cover!
Aha!
Down!
Bullet in the face? Okay, when it clicks, oh, that feels great.
An advantage.
Oh, it's a way up there. Okay. Stop running, man. Okay, so from a visual quality perspective, I think TSR Upscaling is doing a fantastic job. The foliage in the distance is a little bit unstable, jitters a little bit, just a minor thing. Other than that, it looks great. So let's see how XeSS does in comparison. Let's use, well, the highest available preset, which is a little bit lower than TSR, and see how it does. It's a little bit softer, I think. Yeah, it's softer, but the image is a bit more stable. But I think I prefer the TSR rendering. What about characters? You have long hair. What's your hair doing? Okay, right now I'm looking at this area here. See how that changes and behaves when we change the upscaler. I think I prefer the TSR look. Hey, stop moving. Let's go back to XeSS once more. Yeah, I prefer TSR, I think. But it's good. It's really playable. Let's see how low we can go. Ultra quality. For some others, this is quality, as far as I know. Yeah, I think the effect is a bit stronger. It's still okay. Wow, but look at the performance numbers. So that is actually very usable. Let's see. Yeah, it's starting to get a little bit softer. Still acceptable. Oh, we're really pushing it now. But XeSS isn't a bad upscaler. Yeah, now here in the tree leaves and the branches you can already see it shimmering. Okay, that's too much. Also a lot of fine detail in the shadows here, just shimmering. Yeah, it's also in the grass, but the grass is still fine. Yeah, but the faces are very soft, the characters are a lot softer now. But would push it? Performance, what else do we have? Ultra. Yeah, okay, come on, let's skip performance. We need all of it. And it's disgusting. Well, actually, yeah. Okay, looking at the trees, it's bad. But just the ground and the world. But I wouldn't want to play like this. Okay, let's put TSR to the test. Medium, yep. Oh yeah, but that's so much better. But you have a lot of ghosting artifacts. You can see it in the leaves falling and the background with the rocks. How did... Okay. Ultra... Let's give it also ultra quality. See what XeSS... Yeah, but the image is already a lot less stable. Rocks are moving and you still have the ghosting. Alright. Okay, so overall, I'd say TSR wins. Let's see. Oh, it's just low and medium. Alright. I think that's still better than XeSS. Okay. Alright, so I will probably stick with TSR high in my custom settings. Now for science, let's see the different quality presets. And then I think I'm gonna call it. So let's go back here. Let's go back up this hill. Yeah, let's use this as a baseline. All right, so 57. So around 20 FPS more. There's less fog, isn't there? In the distance. Anyway, let's go down to medium. Yeah, now you can already see it in the foliage. It's getting less dense. We're at 94, so it's, let's say 12, 13, 14 FPS more. Medium setting, and then Steam Deck quality. Well, if we wouldn't know any better, we could think that, well, this is just a barren rock world. There's no foliage. Unless, yeah, you have this pop in. That's very distracting. But I didn't even look at the FPS counter. Let's quickly remedy that. So we're at 108. What else do we have to play around with? We have an FPS limiter. Okay, let me put on my settings. Let's make this custom. That is fine. I don't really care about that. Reflections, post-processing, textures. Yeah, let's do it like this. Apply settings, yes. Then limit to 60. Let's see how it feels. I think it's okay. So in my Oblivion test, I mentioned that the 60 FPS cap in-game felt bad. I think that was just influenced by the recording that's happening at the same time. So depending on how well, I don't want to say optimized, but how well the game runs on the CPU in general, the higher the load, I think the higher the impact of the recording, but because it does use a little bit of CPU and I only have a 6-core processor. But I think in this case, at least in this area, the FPS cap in-game feels okay. And removing the recording part probably would solve all issues. So, yeah, that's my first look at the game. Running on Linux, it was a non-issue, it was very uneventful. It worked pretty fine. So, those are my settings. I think one more thing. If you disable chromatic aberration, it should get rid of essentially all motion blur. Yeah, there is a separate motion blur setting which does something, and chromatic aberration is another effect that still adds a little bit of motion blur, but it's okay enough for me to leave it on and enabled, as you can see right now. I hope you can see it on YouTube. There's essentially no more motion blur. And adding chromatic aberration back will also add a little bit of blurring. Yeah, it's a little bit of an effect. But I think I can tolerate that. That's good enough. I just try to stay closer to the original artistic vision. But that's a personal preference. Anyway, as I was trying to say, doing the outro of this video, it's running fine. It was a non-issue. I didn't do any tweaks in Steam. I just let Steam do its thing, select its Proton layer, whatever version it tries to take, then started the game. And Although I probably did a time lapse, you saw how it works. There's this one additional box that I didn't even see on Windows. So on Windows it's probably just some quiet mode in the background while Steam does its preparations. But that's about it. Runs fine, runs well. I think I can recommend that, at least for what I've played so far. There may be later sections later in the game that are heavier on the CPU maybe. That's always the big issue on Linux I've found so far. But from what I've seen so far, it works very well. Anyway, I hope this was somewhat interesting and informative. Thank you for watching.